It really concerns me that most artists nowadays aren't even drawing anymore. You guys have been either paralyzed in fear of other people not liking your work, or so addicted to social media that you can even sit for a few minutes to take simple tasks that takes silence and time, like drawing or reading books. It breaks my heart to see how you guys have been anxious lately, anticipating problems that don't exist yet, and trying to figure out how to sell your work when you're not even drawing enough to make a robust and desirable body of work. Some of you guys have been having problems and are constantly snowed under an unfavorable situation you can't control. Hi guys, I'm Sayuui, a full-time anime artist. I've been drawing seriously and posting my art online since I was a kid, and recently I was able to reduce my phone usage to only 2 hours a day and focus almost entirely on my business, and there are ways you can do that too. I know I probably can't solve your problems because some of them are out of your control, so in today's video, I will try to bring you some enlightenment on how to leave the situation and share what I did in the past when I didn't want to draw or when I wanted to but I couldn't. While you're using your phone and consuming brain rot, the time for you to take action on your dreams is slipping through your fingers. If you want to drop your phone and do what really matters to you, there is a method and I will teach you how to do that. Okay, so if you're in this state, this video is probably too long for you and you won't watch it, so let me start by making a confession and you can stick around if you relate. I wasted a lot of my time scrolling social media too. When Facebook was popular, I wasted a lot of time saving pieces of news and recipes I thought I'd cook someday, and I don't cook. I hate cooking. Sometimes I spend a lot of time on Twitter's feed, and even though my feed is just art, it makes me feel like shit every time I scroll. All I see is either rage bait, envy bait, extremely successful artists that seem out of reach, or nude female characters flooding my feed, and that makes me feel like if I want to be successful, I have to go out of my way and draw like them, which is not true. You spend hours scrolling and what you feel while doing it isn't even positive. So I eliminated Twitter and I'm fine. My artist career is fine too. I'm not missing anything. In fact, I'm surprised at how well my relationship with myself and career are going. I haven't compared myself or created imaginary rivalry with anyone in a while, and because I believe in myself a bit more now, I recently got commissioned by someone big and I associate that directly with how I fix my relationship with myself. Before that, I used to be my worst boss. Now I've become more self-aware and realize I'm a best employee, and I have no choice but to believe in myself. You don't realize that, but you can create for social media without consuming it. I grew up drawing in an era that favored me so much. All there was television, comics, and magazines, and the internet was just starting out. You could easily turn on and off. It wasn't something we would base our lives on. Now, I look around and people don't find hobbies for the sake of being fun anymore. It's a lot more about being part of a group, consuming what others consume, and performing to be the best of them all. Besides, after all, it's not about being an artist or the merit or the prestige that artists get. It's about getting that admiration as quickly as possible without having to go through the same hassle. I mean, if you do it but you're not good at it, it's not fun, right? Some people are deceived into thinking that prestige can be bought, and that's clearly not true. You're gonna have to build that block by block, and it's gonna be painful. Start it sooner rather than later. Good luck. All I see nowadays is connected and everyone is being watched all the time. Why draw in a sketchbook if I'm not going to post it? Why even bother posting if no one's gonna like it? Why should I bother drawing if my drawings are ugly? For whatever field you choose, especially if you work online, you see nothing but the cases of overwhelmingly successful people. They're the first ones you anchor on when you see an example. You try to be like them, but any progress at all seems like nothing compared to what they achieved. So you ask yourself if you're always going to find the same success as them, while forgetting all the success you already have. It seems so distant that you try to be a smarty and deceive yourself by looking for shortcuts for things that don't have a shortcut, like entering AI art into a contest that's only for artists, or tracing AI to get social media followers, or look for easy solutions for complex problems. But these things are like a drug. They seem to embrace you at first, but they deceive you and betray you later on, because lies can only go so far. I really enjoy talking to you guys sometimes, and one of these days, one of my viewers felt stuck and sent me an email asking me for guidance. They articulated what they wanted so well. I was sure that when they showed me their art, they would be a pro of sorts. But guys, I don't understand why you reached out for me for consultancy when I offer a mentorship and you can get the same type of guidance for way cheaper. Check out my mentorship, by the way, link in the description. Anyway, of course, I won't show anything here for discretion because I don't want you all to feel shy about sending me emails from time to time because I love being showered with love and attention. But in summary, they wanted to meet me over a call and it had to be quick. And they were worried about not being able to grow their brand if they focused too much on fan art, but not getting any followers if they drew originals. And finally, they attached one of their recent drawings, but it looked kind of like this. And of course, I'm not going to show their drawing. This is my drawing, okay? And it might sound obvious to some people watching, but for this person, they didn't know it's not the time for them to worry about selling their work, and they have to focus on their skills. I recently checked their Twitter profile, but it was deleted. They keep switching accounts through a lot of social media and never feel secure staying in one account. There's no way you can have a long-term effect of being recognized for anything if you don't keep doing the same thing under the same conditions over and over again. Okay, so many people don't seem to get why I tell these stories here in my videos, and my point is, many of you guys are just as stuck as this guy overthinking. And again, this might sound obvious to you, but I stand by the idea that the obvious has to be said over and over again, as many times as people have to listen. And that leads me to the pottery class parable. You probably heard of it before, but let me refresh your memory. Two teams were invited to an experiment. Both teams had no experience whatsoever in pottery, but they both had the goal to make the best pot they could make. Team A would be graded solely on the quantity of the work they produced, and Team B would have to focus on making only one perfect pot. At the end of the experiment, the best pots came from Team A, which focused on quantity. So yeah, quantity is life-changing and there is no skipping this. But of course, you're thinking of the most efficient way to study art. You don't want to draw like a commoner, no! You want to skip the steps that all the plebs had to go through and jump straight into success. But let me tell you, any attempt to skip the step will only make you fall flat on your face. People forget to be humble sometimes. Okay, this is gonna feel like I'm gonna slap your face, but I just want to remind you that you're average. You're not special. The beautiful art that shows up on your feed is less than 1% of all the drawings on the platform. Maybe a little more because beginners are too scared of posting. It's not easy to learn always from the best. It's expensive and time consuming. And it's not easy to find the connections that will put you on top in the beginning. And even if you do so, that doesn't guarantee anything. And that's okay. It's okay to be average. You don't need to perform. You don't need to compete. You're not what you consume. You are not what you produce. You are simply you. And when you set up your goal to live a happy life instead, you get back in touch with the things you love doing. And being happy implies being more simple. Art takes time, and if you have a more immediate need for money, the last thing you want to do is to immediately turn art into your main income, even if the currency helps you, because you will accept anything if you're desperate, and that will lead you to do things you wouldn't do in other circumstances. This might make you hate working as an artist and destroy the path for yourself and other artists around you. Growing up, I would draw a lot, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew it wasn't me that I had to draw. I would miss it if I didn't do it, and I simply did it because it was fun. I was really imaginative. I used to read a lot of comics, and I was constantly in a flow state. I'd spend hours looking at a wall, imagining things. These are some of the folders full of drawings I found in my previous home, but trust me, there's way more where these came from. I just couldn't find them. Nowadays, when I think of that flow state, I'd say it was a combination of things. Consuming remarkable things like great comics and video games with a rested mind and daydreaming. And that's the total opposite of scrolling social media. Don't get me wrong, social media is powerful, but it's such a combination of different things, it just turns into noise. But Sayuui, do I need to consume great stuff to start? It's a lot of work to create what we consume. A lot of times it's easier to just lie down and consume slop, right? And that comes up to the next topic. Do I need to always consume the best to become a great artist? No. No, you should not just rely on inspiration when drawing something because it might never come. It definitely helps, but relying too much on it will render you stagnant. If you want to draw, honestly, just find a piece of paper and start doodling. The easiest solution is to just create an OC because you know what your OC looks like. You don't need a reference for it. Just start drawing your OC from imagination the way you think they are. Just fill up the paper. Overthinking is your enemy. Creating is not about making sure you're always doing the best. It's about having the courage to admit that what you know currently is enough and do it anyways. That might not be the best you can do yet, but trust me, no one gets there. If your judgment is over your skill and you can see it looks bad, the answer is always in the next drawing. Finish it, then go up to the next. Some people would argue that you can't work as a social media artist if you don't use social media for inspiration, but scrolling social media mindlessly taught me absolutely nothing about the platform. And I didn't get inspired either. How am I supposed to feel inspired by something I just scrolled past? My friend who worked out how Twitter works scrolled very intentionally while looking for patterns, and that's a skill. You probably won't do that by just scrolling mindlessly. How can you turn this noise into the right headspace for creation then? You have to organize things yourself. Your first homework is to, whenever you find something inspirational, save it in your device. Not in a Pinterest folder, not in your social media saves, in your device. Then separate your artists into folders. This piece you saved will serve a greater purpose in the future to help you solve a problem when you have to try to make a piece like that one. I recommend keeping copies of these folders both on your phone and your PC, so you can look at the art that inspires you often instead of checking apps that drain your imagination. I have folders for my favorite artists on my desktop computer, as well as art books and magazines for reference and teaching you how to draw. You need to know a few artists' portfolios fairly well. And on your main phone, you need to make sure to set up a widget on your homepage that lets you know how much time you have been spending daily on your phone. If you're on Samsung, simply go to your main phone screen, zoom out, and find the widgets menu. Then select digital welfare. And on iPhone, press and hold a blank area of your home screen until the apps jiggle, then tap the add widget button and select screen time. This is the first step to digital awareness, and congratulations on taking it because it takes a huge amount of courage. Speaking of art books, they are really powerful. If there's any game you love and you're obsessed with, if it's Japanese, there's a high chance that there is an art book. Collect them. Look them up on a Japanese Amazon or something. Physical reference is important. It just feels different. It's really yours at any time and it's easy to access. You'll thank me later. Now, the next step is probably the most important of them all. Get rid of your social media apps, because if you try to use them with the time limit notifications, you know you will turn these off and keep using them. I know you'll do it. You know that second phone you have in your drawer that has a shatter screen, a missing button, and keeps running out of juice? That's where you keep your social media apps. Yeah, that one. The goal here is to make it difficult to use social media. I can't think of a situation that makes social media use urgent, even if you're a content creator, so if you get rid of the apps and log out, you'll stop using your phone so much. But Sayuui, that's torture. I can't do that. That's what the next step is for. You need to replace these with physical media. The first thing is to start carrying a sketchbook around. If you don't feel like it, it can be books or magazines. It can be a webtoon too, or an Amazon Kindle. You just need to create a routine that keeps you in touch with the reasons why you love creating so much. If your brain has reached a point where you can't read anything for long anymore, you just need to realize that this is a problem. Have you ever caught yourself in a conversation with friends who are telling interesting stories and all you can talk about is memes? In a world where you need great content to get you through the day and knowledge is power, and there's hardly a way to get real knowledge other than books, how are you supposed to make your dreams come true if you're not reading? This is not an easy problem to solve, but you probably have to face it sooner or later. For anything you do in life, you need to study. The good news is that you can do it again if you try, so reintroduce that habit to your brain little by little until you can do it again. Don't feel bad if you're struggling to get rid of social media. It's a true addiction, and organizing your digital life to serve your creations is a skill that takes time and is absolutely not taught. If you're aware of it, that's the first step. Maybe because I know better, it's easier for me. I've been through gentler social media in the early days, and I was constantly forbidden from using the internet for too long growing up. In fact, I think we should have never gotten past that phase where the internet was just part of our lives. You just need to be kind to yourself and remember it's harmful. But Sayuui, I don't know why I should keep creating. If you're struggling with mental health, I'm hardly someone to be advising you, and you should look for a specialist, because no amount of saying you should do something will actually get you to do it if you have a chemical imbalance. So you need to get that out of the way first. But have you ever stopped to think that with how the world is doing nowadays, the only thing you can probably do to make it better is to create something and inspire other people to create like you? If you're watching this, chances are you're not in charge. With all that's been going on lately, the only thing you can do to touch people's lives is to create. There was a time I was under the weather in disbelief with my career. Artists go through a lot all the time, but But then I had a draw this in your style challenge on the Instagram, and the prize was a tablet. The winner was completely random, and she was actually a mom who wanted to gift a tablet to her daughter. And probably because she was poor, she hadn't been able to gift her daughter in that year yet. This got me thinking, this is why I have to keep doing what I do. I can't stop, and some people need me. They're there, I just can't see that right now, but they will show up eventually. So yeah, take action. That's way more important than knowing everything you need to do. And be kind to yourself because you've been doing more than you give yourself credit for, trust me. If you're a beginner digital artist and want to learn the baby steps, here's a video to help you out with that. And I hope to see you there.